Welcome to the Charles Report, another exercise in futility, stupidity, and self aggrandizement. I hope you enjoyed this infotainment special. I'll try not to go more than 15 minutes. This is more of an experiment in media possibilities than anything else, but I might as well discuss something since that's what these Charles Reports are about. Every once in a while, I get the urge to do this. Um, I have to confess, it's a curious phenomena. The technology is evolving, and we have all sorts of unique possibilities for communicating with a mass audience. Um, I suspect that's what I'm doing, even if that's what I don't want to do. Um, but nevertheless, there seems to be a lack of news these days about things that maybe are important to people. Maybe people just want to tune out the news. I think that's more likely than not. I prefer to get my news from other sources than cable TV. Um, it's more of the same. But I did want to mention I've been doing a lot of research on YouTube in regard to defense stuff. There's a lot of really good videos on YouTube dealing with military technologies as they evolve. And it seems to me, I could be mistaken, but Russian military technology has really evolved to a frightening or an incredible degree. I don't know. Uh, I'm not an expert in this. I did belong to something called the National Science. Um, it was a long time ago. Met at the University of Pennsylvania. Discussed National Space Society, where they discussed things like hypersonic speed and missile technologies. But they have deployed a new missile. It is a hypersonic missile, and this thing is really incredible. Um, and other technologies. I was looking at a YouTube video on Russian air defenses, which are the best in the world. They have a standoff capability of like 600 miles out, where they can track and shoot down an incoming missile aircraft or whatever. Um, and it's the Patriot is like 100 miles out. We have this image of Russia as a backward place where people don't even have enough potatoes to eat. It's a propaganda exercise that has been ongoing for the last 50 to 100 years, and it's really I think it's really pathetic. Um, uh, Back in the Soviet days, it was. We didn't know what the Soviet Union was about because it was, as Churchill said, a mystery wrapped in an enigma. But today, Russia appears to be a much more open society, and they have a way of the propaganda mouthpieces, i.e., the infotainment industry, the major media outlets that naturally fall into line with the official party dogma have a way of personalizing everything that comes out of Russia and making it seem like it's poor Mr. Putin. He's to blame for everything, and he's a terrible person. And imagine a KGB ex KGB head to be head of government like George Bush was never head of CIA and never president of the United States. I mean, the duplicity involved here is tremendous. And now with the total pardon my language, fuck up of the Biden energy policy, which is no policy at all. I mean, I can't understand how anybody could be so incredibly stupid as to have the lack of an energy policy that Mr. Biden has. They expect Russia and, well, maybe Saudi Arabia and Russia, the major OPEC producers, to start producing more energy at the crack of Biden's whip, maybe, or because they say so, and expect these countries, OPEC, just to fall into line. Well, they need to wake up and smell the coffee or something, because something ain't right. I mean, are these people living in a parallel universe? Um, I don't know. But the high energy prices are driving inflation, and the cost of gasoline at the pump is well over $3, heading towards $4. Heating oil this winter is going to be an exorbitant price for homeowners in the north, um, and thousands, tens of thousands of jobs have been lost with the end of the fracking industry and liquefied natural gas. That the United States was a leader and a world leader, and Russia was nowhere to be found in that field. They're trying to master the technology. Saudi Arabia, we were in a head-to-head competition when President Obama was in office. And President Trump, I believe, was big on making the U.S. the number one energy exporting country in the world. I take my hat off to him. The first place he went in the world was to Saudi Arabia, and at the time he was criticized for it. But I can certainly see the sense of it now. Um, Biden is it's all about politics, and I admit he's the ultimate political animal, and somebody has a genius for politics. But this is we have to get beyond politics in order for this country to survive in the world. And it's COVID is ravaging Europe right now. Not to change the subject, but yes, to change the subject because my mind wanders. Um, Europe is being devastated by COVID, and smart countries have initiated a mandatory vaccination policy. Austria has mandatory vaccination. Germany is maybe dithering. New Chancellor Merkel, is out. A person who was a remarkable chancellor, and really historic in a lot of ways. Um, and They gave her a bouquet of flowers and kicked her out. What a sad end for a truly remarkable person who did so much to maintain stability in Europe. But of course, these are changing times, and I think the present leadership in Germany would like an equidistant policy from uh, Russia and the United States, kind of like a mid course. Um, but the foreign minister is a true Atlanticist, strong supporter of the continued um, alliance with the United States. Um, but I don't see that as being in the cards for very long. I think Europe is going to go its own way. I think that what's happening beneath the radar screen is that the EU is broadening its base, and it's going to survive the Brexit and prove that what Mr. Nietzsche said, that which doesn't kill you makes you stronger, is very much the case. Um, uh, it's a curious thing. It's a common thing to criticize the EU bureaucrats, in the same way that we criticize our permanent political class here in America, that is headquartered in Washington. Um, and But basically, that's the way the system works. But COVID is changing an awful lot, and I think mandatory vaccination is the only thing that's really going to work. This idea of the Germans and certain European countries are still convinced that the cheap way to go and the inexpensive way to go is herd immunity. Just let people get it and live or die. Excuse me. I apologize. I just ate breakfast, and as you can see, I'm sitting here in my kitchen, um, free associating as we go along here in this pathetic media exercise called the Charles Report. Um, but anyway, getting back to Europe, uh, it's um, it's a curious thing. People wonder where is Europe headed, but it's a new venture, and I at the other end of the Great Eurasian landmass, a supercontinent, you have China that with its Belt and Road Initiative that wants to link up with Europe and have be able to move goods and serve goods through a railroad line connecting Beijing, Guangdong, Shanghai, all the major industrial areas to Paris and London and Berlin thereabouts, so that they can move goods by rail and also by sea. It's called the Belt and Road Initiative, and I think this is really what's pissing off the United States, the leadership here, the business community, that they are rapidly losing market share to China, and they have to come up with an excuse to saber rattle or flex their muscles um, in regard to sort of warn off China. I don't know. I think the real military muscle and technological edge that missile technology that rests with Russia is a little scary, and I know it's been the tactic or the strategy, the grand strategy of the Putin administration is to um, have limited forces to compete with land forces to compete with NATO, and excuse me, the idea is missile technology and using that advantage, that technical advantage, to as a way of forestalling war and maintaining leverage over the West. And anyway, these um, this is all available on YouTube, and it's not top secret or anything. Unfortunately or fortunately, I don't have access to top secret information of any 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 sort except my top drawer dresser. That's the only top secret information I've got. But you can use your head and sort of put the pieces together, and that's what we don't have with the news media. We have happy talk, and I think the economy is in trouble. The economy of the super rich is not in trouble. I mean, they are increasing their share of the world's of financial resources, and they've done quite well under COVID, and all the statistics bear that out. I would quote you statistics if I had them in front of me, but this is, like I said, this Charles report is more of like a media experiment where I'm just talking. Um, Free associating and presenting some ideas out there, and people can either follow up on it or just laugh and consider the sources they say. And I'm am I a reputable source? I don't know. I can't. I don't know. Maybe not. Who knows? But anyway, this is fun to be able to do this, and I thank YouTube for providing this service to the public. I'm learning how to use this, and to all my friends and relatives um, uh, and everybody else. I just want to say hello and wish them a happy Thanksgiving on this Thanksgiving, November 25th, I think, and in the spirit of sharing. This is my share, you might say, um, with the world public, and hopefully, somebody will get a good laugh out of this or find something thought provoking. Um, I'm reading a book right now by Lewis Mumford on it's called The Myth of the Machine is what it's called, and about our idolatrous worship of that's what I would call it of technology and our belief in technology. Nietzsche said in the 19th century, late 19th century, that God is dead. Well, we've replaced the Christian religion has been replaced by the idolatrous worship of technology and thinking that technology will solve all our problems, and that there couldn't possibly be a so-called technological advance and invention that wasn't good and worth efficacious when these devices that destroy the the economy to some extent, but the environment, and just they're going to robotize per, all of industry. People won't have jobs. The population will be redundant. They'll need some sort of a virus to get rid of the redundant population and just keep that portion of the population that services the tech industry and finance capital. And that's exactly what some people seem to suggest is happening with COVID. Not that I buy into it 100%, maybe 10%. There's many thought-provoking things being written, and God knows my mind wanders from time to time, um, uh, and probably into some dark, blind alleys. This is one of the theories that's been being passed around on some of the conspiracy websites is that there is this um, um, that COVID is a sinister plot, and everything is kind of driven by the need to centralize the world, the new world system with artificial intelligence and tracking people, and it's a more of a morbid fantasy than a reality, I believe. Um, but people are free to sort through the mess of the internet and the web and find things that are interesting and amusing. I suppose some people are still waiting for the ancient aliens crowd, and Mr. Von Donigan. Eric von Donigan are waiting for the aliens to come back and save us. Well, unfortunately, they're going to have a long wait because I think we're going to have to save ourselves. Um, but as Dickens said in the opening sentence of Tale of Two Cities, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Well, it's always been this way, and either step up and meet the challenge, or you end up as roadkill. And I think most people want to step up and meet the challenge of living in a so-called postmodern world where all values are relative and there are no absolutes. But they find that that's a disturbing sentence, a um, meaningless social miasma. It's that there are absolutes. Certainly, when it comes to values, the things that are neglected, and I think that this is what people are searching for today: new values, or rediscovering old values that have been around since time immemorial, and the universal religion maybe of the earliest times of getting in touch with that, as George Gurdjieff claimed that he was in touch with it, or Ouspensky's partner, or uh, a teacher. This is the Charles report for November 25th, 2021, and gee, I didn't think I would make it this far in my young life. When I was in my 20s, I was living a very dissipated kind of life, and was engaging in a lot of risky behaviors, and I've I've survived, and I I've learned a lot, but I realize now how as some great wise men of the East said, I guess the East, maybe it was the left coast, I don't know, that how little I know, and I've spent a lifetime as an autodidact reading, and uh, 3, 4 different graduate programs, and it's the more I know, the more I know that I don't know, and what a mystery life is, and how um, in unable, well, the inability to really comprehend reality, um, at its core, the Ding Zeke, as as no, not Spinoza, but I don't know, Schopenhauer. I don't know. One of those German guys, his, his ponderous thinkers that ate too much sauerkraut. It ruined their disposition, and they became existentialists. I don't know. Um, I try to stay away from sauerkraut. Um, anyway, the Ding on Sig, Immanuel Kant said, that our inability to our ability to really understand reality for what it really is somewhat incomplete. And when you think about it, that's that's what it's all about in a way, of trying to be in touch with reality as best you can, so that you don't let the incidentals of day-to-day life that are problematic and blow you away, and you can maintain now this is the psychologist in me speaking, or the would-be psychologist, the, um, the guy that almost finished his doctoral in psychology at College University. Um, but like I said, I've spent a lifetime I consider myself an autodidact, um, and the main focus of my education has always been self-directed. Um, and but the point is, you want to have a moral compass in your life. You want to know where you're going, and man's the human need for meaning is we're meaning driven creatures that need a narrative to make sense of our lives. And putting together a personal narrative is can be quite a challenge. My personal narrative is being altered these days by many things: health factors and financial factors and intellectual factors and just many things, self-image factors. And I'm trying to come up with a new personal narrative for myself. But it's very important that people have a narrative that works for them, that doesn't blame them, castigate them. That is a true narrative, because everybody has good in their in their background, has some good that they can stress. And I learned a little bit about this through narrative, a symposium on narrative therapy I attended years and years ago, and as a kind of an existential therapy. And it was the founder of it was an Australian, who was completely an autodidact, had taught himself, and was recognized by all of the um, universities. I mean, I was taught this was I learned this at a mental health counseling program at Stetson, academically approved, you might say. I wish I could remember his name, but anyway, we all need to work on our personal narratives and build our personal narratives. And my personal narrative is evolving right now from where it formerly had been, and I think that you know I, I am a tremendous disappointment to myself when I get into my negative narrative, the wrong kind of narrative, and my old narrative rather, and I haven't achieved what I've wanted to achieve in life, but who has? I'm not president of the United States. I'm not. I'm not a millionaire. I'm. I guess I'm a loser. I don't know. Some people would consider me a loser, because I'm not at their economic level. Sad to say, my family has somewhat disowned me. I can't say as I blame them, because I've disowned them, and but that can always change. And it's more perception than reality. Friends I've lost contact with, many of my friends from my younger days, but once again, this is an attempt. The Charles Report is an attempt to rebuild those lost connections and relationships and build new ones with a well, not to sound too overblown, grandiose, with a world audience, because this is what technology en- enables us to do. I mean, one of the good things about the postmodern world we're living in and communications technology. So, um, my personal narrative needs to be built around this, and a kind of a idiosyncratic approach to what I do and what I would like to do and who I am. If anybody enjoys this, if anybody gets any benefit from it, please let me know. But you'll only be encouraging me. So maybe you shouldn't. You should just shut up but I could use some encouragement right now. And if you want to give me a like, I guess that'll make my day. Like the description of this says, it's basically a media experiment to find out what can be done with these with live streaming. And I've seen some very clever, creative things, positive things done with live streaming, and I want to see. Where I can go with it and what the possibilities are for me sitting here in my kitchen and talking to the world right after a noontime breakfast on Thanksgiving Day, November 25th. Um, um, so the world is in trouble, so it would seem, but maybe that's just the way it's always been, and we have to rise above that or find a way to steer clear of the negativity and try to find a it was the best. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times, and that is something that we can maybe keep in mind. I love Dickens. Dickens was a great writer. I read David Copperfield, Great Expectations, Tale of Two Cities, but not everything he wrote. But he had a very 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 great talent for words and saying things and using words to paint a picture. I wouldn't say he's my favorite writer, but at one time he was. And Dickens was opened a new world to me when I was young in high school, and I did a lot of outside reading because I found the curriculum so boring. And but remarkable writer, and I enjoyed his. Maybe I'll revisit his work sometime. Um, I a lot of great writers. Uh, was particularly attracted to Dostoevsky, Russian literature, Tolstoy's War and Peace, the way it ended, the whole history of the War of 1812 in Russia. Very emotional, stirring stuff, thought provoking too. The greatest novels ever written, I think, are the Russian novels of Tolstoy, uh, War and Peace, and Dostoevsky. Um, of course, I've read them in English translation in the Russian language. They're probably even better. Um, but I, I'll always remember the ending of War and Peace, where Tolstoy says, "This is if the world is." They talk about the War of 1812 and the terrible devastation that it caused, and the millions of lives that were lost. And Tolstoy's Prince, Prince Yusupov, um, Pierre, the main character, says, "Well, if evil men can conspire to do all this, certainly good men can conspire to prevent it." And I think that's where I'm at personally. Good people can conspire to prevent wars, and that's what we have to do. And that's my final message on Thanksgiving. And I'm thankful that we have never had a major war with Russia or China, and certainly we need to conspire to make sure that